Stress is the hidden tax of success. It does not appear on balance sheets, yet it compounds relentlessly in the background of every high-stakes decision. For financial celebrities, investors, founders, allocators of enormous capital, pressure is not episodic, it is structural. Markets move, reputations swing. Consequences are real, public, and often irreversible. The question is not whether they feel stress, but how they metabolize it without allowing it to corrupt judgment. Contrary to popular myth, financial celebrities are not immune to anxiety. They experience it more frequently than most, because the scale of their decisions amplifies consequence. What distinguishes them is not emotional numbness, but architecture. They build systems, internal and external, that prevent pressure from leaking into action. Books and long-form interviews consistently reveal that their calm is designed, not innate. One of the first strategies that emerges is pre-commitment. Financial celebrities make critical decisions before stress arrives. Investment criteria, risk limits, exit rules, communication protocols. These decisions are locked in during periods of clarity, not negotiated during chaos. When volatility spikes, they do not debate fundamentals, they execute pre-agreed plans. This removes emotion from moments most likely to invite it. Another defining pattern is how they manage exposure. Stress correlates strongly with overexposure, too much capital in one position, too much identity tied to one outcome, too much attention on short-term noise. Financial celebrities deliberately cap exposure. They diversify not just portfolios, but identities. They ensure that no single decision defines their worth, reputation, or future. This psychological diversification stabilizes behavior when markets destabilize narratives. Time horizon is another powerful buffer. Pressure intensifies when decisions are evaluated instantly. Financial celebrities stretch time deliberately. They frame outcomes over years, not days. This reframing reduces the emotional amplitude of short-term swings. Books show that those who survive multiple cycles train themselves to ask one question under pressure: does this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, emotional response is scaled down accordingly. Another insight emerges around information control. Stress feeds on noise. Financial celebrities curate inputs aggressively during volatile periods. They reduce media consumption. They delay commentary. They limit conversations to a small circle of trusted thinkers. This is not avoidance, it is filtration. By narrowing the signal, they preserve cognitive bandwidth for decisions that actually matter. Physical routines also play a role, though rarely in the performative way popular culture suggests. Exercise, sleep, and repetition are treated as non-negotiable infrastructure, not as wellness trends, but as risk management. Decision-making under stress degrades rapidly without physiological stability. Financial celebrities protect the body because it carries the mind that carries the capital. Another subtle but critical practice is emotional labeling. Instead of suppressing stress, they name it: fear, uncertainty, fatigue. By articulating emotion internally, they prevent it from masquerading as insight. Books emphasize that many catastrophic decisions occurred not because leaders felt fear, but because they mistook fear for information. Labeling separates feeling from fact. There is also a pronounced separation between preparation and performance. Financial celebrities prepare obsessively when stakes are low. They study scenarios. They rehearse responses. They simulate failure. When pressure arrives, preparation replaces panic. This mirrors elite performance psychology more than traditional finance. Stress becomes a familiar visitor, not a surprise. Another recurring theme is solitude. Under pressure, financial celebrities retreat not to escape, but to think clearly. They create space, away from consensus, commentary, and reaction. Solitude allows integration. It slows cognition. It restores perspective. Books repeatedly show that pivotal decisions were made not in meetings, but alone, after noise subsided. Importantly, these individuals are selective about empathy. They care deeply about stakeholders, but they do not absorb collective anxiety. Emotional contagion is recognized as a risk. Financial celebrities train themselves to acknowledge others' fear without inheriting it. This emotional boundary protects leadership function during crises. Another key pattern involves language. Under stress, they speak less and write more. Writing forces structure. It exposes assumptions. It slows impulsive thinking. Many financial celebrities keep private journals or memos during turbulent periods, not to vent, but to clarify. The act of writing converts pressure into process. There is also an acceptance of imperfection that reduces stress dramatically. Financial celebrities do not seek flawless outcomes. They seek survivable ones. This acceptance reframes pressure. The goal is not to avoid all pain, but to avoid irreversible damage. Once ruin is removed from the equation, stress loses much of its power. Books also reveal how experience reshapes stress tolerance. Early in careers, pressure feels existential. Over time, it becomes familiar. Patterns repeat. Crises rhyme. Financial celebrities learn that panic rarely produces originality, only error. Familiarity breeds not contempt, but composure. Stress becomes information about environment, not command over behavior. Another insight concerns delegation. Financial celebrities do not carry pressure alone. They distribute responsibility deliberately. Trusted teams handle execution. Advisors challenge assumptions. This shared load reduces cognitive strain and prevents tunnel vision. Isolation magnifies stress. Structured collaboration diffuses it. As stakes grow, many financial celebrities redesign their lives to reduce unnecessary pressure. They simplify schedules. They reduce public exposure. They decline opportunities that increase stress without improving long-term objectives. This pruning reflects maturity. Pressure is treated as a cost to be minimized, not a badge of honor. The final pattern in this half of the story is perhaps the most counterintuitive. Financial celebrities accept stress as inevitable, but they refuse to dramatize it. They do not interpret pressure as proof of importance. They see it as a byproduct of responsibility. This normalization strips stress of its psychological leverage. And this is where the story begins to narrow. Because once we stop asking how financial celebrities eliminate stress and start understanding how they contain it, the lesson shifts. Stress is not the enemy. Unmanaged stress is. It is at this point where pressure is metabolized into discipline rather than reaction that their true advantage becomes visible, not in moments of triumph, but in moments when fear, uncertainty, and scrutiny converge. And decisions must still be made with clarity, restraint, and long-term perspective, as composure becomes a skill built deliberately over years of exposure, reflection, and design, unfolding quietly under pressure. Like unfolding quietly under pressure, like a muscle strengthened not by comfort, but by repeated exposure to controlled strain. And this is where the way financial celebrities handle stress and pressure reveals its deepest and most transferable lesson, not as a collection of coping tricks, but as a philosophy of responsibility. In the second half of this story, stress stops being viewed as an external force and becomes an internal signal. Financial celebrities learn to interpret pressure as information about system design. When stress spikes, they do not immediately ask, "How do I calm down?" They ask, "What structure allowed this pressure to accumulate?" This reframing transforms stress from an emotional problem into a diagnostic tool. One of the most important shifts at this level is the rejection of heroism. Early in their careers, many financial figures believe they must personally absorb pressure to prove competence. Over time, they learn the opposite. Absorbing pressure indiscriminately degrades judgment. True leadership is not about carrying everything. It is about designing systems that do not require constant emotional sacrifice. Delegation, redundancy, and clear escalation protocols become tools of psychological preservation. Another defining practice is boundary enforcement. Financial celebrities are ruthless about separating what they can control from what they cannot. Market reactions, public opinion, short-term performance, these are acknowledged but not internalized. Decisions, preparation, and integrity remain within control. By drawing this boundary repeatedly, they prevent stress from becoming existential. Pressure remains situational, not personal. The relationship between stress and speed also changes. Under pressure, most people accelerate. Financial celebrities decelerate. They pause conversations. They delay announcements. They resist the urge to respond immediately. This slowing is not indecision, it is protection against irreversible error. Books repeatedly show that the most damaging mistakes occurred when leaders tried to relieve pressure quickly rather than resolve it correctly. Another insight emerges around recovery. Financial celebrities treat recovery as part of performance, not a reward for it. Sleep is defended. Time off is scheduled. Silence is cultivated. These practices are not indulgent, they are structural resets. Without recovery, stress compounds invisibly until judgment collapses. With recovery, pressure becomes episodic rather than cumulative. There is also a notable evolution in how these individuals relate to fear. Fear is no longer something to be conquered, it is something to be consulted. Fear often highlights asymmetry downsides that have not been fully explored. Financial celebrities learn to listen without obeying. Fear informs analysis, not action. This separation preserves insight without surrendering control. Another pattern is the normalization of worst-case thinking. Rather than avoiding negative scenarios, financial celebrities rehearse them calmly. They ask what failure would look like, how it would be handled, and whether survival remains intact. This rehearsal reduces the emotional shock of adversity. When pressure arrives, it feels familiar. Familiarity drains fear of its authority. Language again plays a critical role. Under stress, these individuals avoid dramatic framing. They do not speak in absolutes. They do not catastrophize. Words remain conditional, precise, restrained. This linguistic discipline stabilizes group psychology. Teams take cues from tone. Calm language produces calm execution. Over decades, financial celebrities develop a counterintuitive relationship with pressure. They expect it. Expectation removes surprise. Surprise amplifies stress. When pressure is anticipated, it loses the power to hijack behavior. This expectation is not pessimism, it is professionalism. As careers mature, many financial celebrities redesign their definition of success, specifically to reduce destructive pressure. They trade maximum upside for sustainability. They choose fewer, higher quality decisions. They optimize for sleep, health, and autonomy. This is not retreat. It is strategic conservation of decision-making capacity, the most finite resource they possess. And this is the real ending of the story. Financial celebrities do not win because they feel less stress. They win because stress does not dictate their behavior. They have trained themselves to respond, not react, to design, not endure, to metabolize pressure into clarity rather than chaos. If this reflection resonated with you, pause and ask yourself one question. When pressure rises in your life, does it push you toward faster decisions or better ones? That answer reveals where structure is missing. Share that insight. And if you want to keep exploring how calm, clarity, and discipline are engineered, not wished for, stay connected. Subscribe, follow, and return. Because in finance, as in life, it is not the absence of pressure that determines longevity, but the ability to remain intact while carrying it.